A las 12 me dan ganas de llamarte por el FaceTime.
Hello everyone, happy holidays again. If you have noticed that I'm wearing the same outfit and probably the exact same from the last video, don't comment, because if you saw my vlog, you saw that I came to France with a little backpack, so I don't have many outfits with me. So we're gonna have to deal with the Levi's jeans and colourful standard white t-shirt yet again. I was trying to come up with more video topics for the next couple weeks because I'm off university and I feel like I should backlog some videos, and my TikTok algorithm was throwing a lot of Erasmus stuff, and I was like, maybe I have some things to comment on Erasmus, and so that's what we're going to do today. So yeah, this is a video for anyone who's going on Erasmus and wants the kind of info on what's good, what's bad, what the program's like, or if you've been on one and you just want to reminisce with me. So let's go. I technically did two different Erasmus exchanges. I did an online university exchange during the pandemic. I went to the University of Tours in France for a semester, but I'm not going to comment on that because it was pandemic time. As much as I loved my classes and had a great time, I don't feel like I had a full Erasmus experience. Basically, I didn't make a single friend, so it doesn't count. But in September of 2021 until June of 2022, I was doing another Erasmus exchange in Valencia. Now, this Erasmus exchange was different because I wasn't studying, I was actually doing a traineeship, which a lot of people don't know about Erasmus. You don't have to just go to university. What's so interesting is now 99% sure that the Erasmus exchange does not exist in the UK, and it is instead the awful Turing scheme or whatever it's called. And I'm so sorry for all the future British students that will not get to experience Erasmus, because it sucks that we actually debated about it in one of my classes, the fact that Erasmus is a bilateral, so exchanges are going both ways and fees are being covered, and it just seems a lot more amicable than the Turing scheme, where it's like, oh yeah, all the Brits can go to your country but you can't come to us. I'm not shocked, but enough of the politics. So the way Erasmus works is either a university or a traineeship exchange, and with Erasmus you tend to get a decent funding. I think it was around 450 euros, give or take, and I think certain countries they up that depending on the cost of living. Spain isn't too expensive, so I didn't get any more, but it was fine. I also worked with the British Council, so it was kind of a duo exchange, and they gave me a salary of 1,000 euros to go to Spain and teach English in a primary school, a nursery, for 9 months or something. That's how it worked for me. I just want to start the video by saying I do love the Erasmus scheme. I think it's an amazing idea, and I think everyone should have the opportunity, and that's why I'm so enraged that the UK and the rest of Europe don't have that kind of opportunity with each other. For the purpose of this video, I thought I would discuss the 5 best and 5 worst things about doing an Erasmus and about my Erasmus exchange in Valencia. I'm like, do I begin with the worst or the best? I think I'm going to start with the worst so we can end on a good note. Okay. The main worst thing about doing an Erasmus, oh my god, if you've done it, you understand. It is the visa and the paperwork. Now, for all you EU students, I know you didn't have that problem, because when I did my first Erasmus, I didn't have to get a visa to go to France, but my second one going to Spain, I had to get a visa. And it was months of stress. It was so much money. I think the visa itself was like £270, and then all of the paperwork was adding up to like another 400 or something, because you have to get your document, which normally costs whatever it is, like 50 to 100 pounds per document. You need to get it translated by a professional. You need to get it apostille stamped. This not only is expensive, but it takes a lot of time. And I was getting to the point where I was like, can I do this? And if this is, I've not even got to Spain yet, and this is the stress I'm feeling, am I able to move to Spain for a year? And then all of that, I got to Spain, and now I didn't have my visa. I had like the 90-day Shannon visa basically, and I had to go and get a DIE, which is like the residency card, which meant I did all of that and I had to like do it again. It was just traumatizing, took so much time, took so much mental energy, and it has to be one of the worst parts of doing an Erasmus. I know of some people that ended up not going because they found it too stressful, and I fully get it. It's a lot of work. Next is something that my Erasmus coordinator at the university mentioned to us, and I was like, I won't feel that way though, and it's called the dip. And she kind of drew a graph of our happiness rate throughout the exchange, and I was like, this is so weird. I'm going to be the happiest person at all times when I'm in Spain. Why would I not be? I'm on my Erasmus exchange. And that graph was pretty much on the dot. And so basically you get on your Erasmus, and after you've done all that awful paperwork, you arrive the first day, you spend a week kind of traveling around the city, having fun, whatever, and you're on this high. And this kind of lasts for a good month or two, because you're like, oh my god, I'm on my Erasmus. This is just the best. And then like the third month hits and it dips. You're like, oh my God, I'm so far away from my family. I'm so far away from my friends. I can't communicate well here. I'm not familiar with this culture and all of that. And then you come back because it's Christmas break and you're going back home, so excited to be back home. And then in January, you get that second wind of that first semester went so insanely quickly that I am just going to like enjoy the rest of the trip. And that's how I felt the whole time. But that dip, I remember hitting a point where I'd been like maybe a month and a half. I'd been in Spain and I hadn't really made good friends yet. Like I'd met some people and I'd been on nights out, but I didn't feel like I'd met my soulmates yet. And then after that dip, I did, but whatever. That dip felt real and it was getting to a point where I thought maybe I overhyped my Erasmus and it's not as good. I'm kind of in that dip right now where I'm realizing how difficult it is to live abroad. So yeah, the dip is real. Be prepared for it, but do remember that you come out of that dip and you go 100 times higher than that dip felt. So the third one, which I kind of briefly mentioned there, is settling into a new culture. And I know a lot of people think, oh, Europe is all the same, but especially if you're coming from the UK, there's a lot that you guys do in mainland Europe that we don't do. And I was lucky that I traveled a lot in mainland Europe and I knew the main things. Like I knew shops shut on a Sunday, and I knew that in Spain and Italy and some other countries, midday they just decide to take their siesta and close everything again. But it doesn't mean it's easy to get used to. I'm so used to like having 24-hour Tesco's, and like if I need something, I know I can always go get it. I can find it somewhere. Whereas in Spain, it's like, if it's shut, it's shut. You're not getting that thing. Yeah, that's such a non-serious point of the culture. I guess just as a Spanish student, I knew a lot about the culture, so I didn't have that real shock that most people would have. But I still felt some things nonetheless. Okay, number 4. This is a bad but not bad. You're gonna get why. How quickly your semester or year goes by. I was so shocked. Like when I was kind of revisiting this year, I was like, oh my gosh, I was in Spain for half of the year this year, 6 months, and I feel like I was there a week. It just went by so insanely quickly. And it's like, you kind of feel this pressure to constantly doing stuff because you know it's gone by so quickly. And you know, since it is one of the best years of your life, according to some people, you want it to be a long year. I don't want it to fly by. I want to like appreciate every moment, but you just blink and it's been 3 months and you're like, am I local here now? I was reading into this, doing a little bit of research on this topic and also looking for TikTok, and I found the phrase post-Erasmus depression. And I think depression is a very strong word, but we'll negate that and just take it as like post-Erasmus tristesse, like sadness, whatever you want to call it. I came home to Glasgow and it's been 6 months technically since I left Spain. I spent 3 of those months in Glasgow and I hated every moment because I would just constantly think about how good my life was in Spain and how I was with my best friends. I was having the time of my life, the weather, the work, just the experience. Also just living with my boyfriend in an apartment was so fun. And I came home to Glasgow and I was like, so that's it. Like I'm back to where I was. I felt like I didn't have any friends in Glasgow. But it's so weird. It's like you don't fit in your own country. And I've also seen some people meme this where it's like, you go on a 1 month Erasmus and you act like you're local, but there is a sense of adapting to that culture no matter how long you're there. And I guess the longer, the more you feel it when you come back to your own culture.
Oh, sorry. Posso verde. I mean, can I have?
I guess I missed the excitement of being in somewhere new. And it's just kind of, honestly, I could take it with a pinch of salt because it's just really solidated the fact that I don't want to be in Glasgow after I graduate. It's okay. So let's move on to the positives of the Erasmus exchanges. Number 1 is meeting new people / making friends. Now, earlier I spoke about the dip where I hadn't made friends yet, but after that 2-month period, I met my now best friends. We got matching tattoos and everything just to prove that the friendship is real. No, but seriously, I'm so grateful for the people I met on my exchange. It's just nice to be in a new environment, meet new people. And also most people that do Erasmus kind of it's easier to find people you connect with because like it's hard moving to a new country and you're all going through it together. You're going through the stress, you're going through the joy, the fun, everything. And I felt like I was just out every day doing something and it was just amazing. I'm very thankful for my best friends that I made in Valencia. Number 2 is being able to call somewhere else home. I really feel like I can call Valencia home now. Like, you know, when you start talking about streets, when you're like trying to mention a place, and you're like, oh, you know, it's on like this street. Or maybe if you know where the Mercadona is in this part, you just want to take a right on that next street and it's just there. Like, I started doing that when I was talking to my colleagues about places I'd been to, and I was like, I don't even do that in Glasgow. I don't even know the street names of Glasgow. So it felt really good when you find your favorite spots. I had my favorite spot to drink and my favorite spots to eat that I found really early on. In fact, my favorite food place was Burritos. It's the best, and we found it on our first night. So it's just little things like that when you start feeling, you know the way to get to places, you know every kind of restaurant street that people are talking about, all of those. It feels so good. So alongside the whole feeling like it's your home, obviously comes the finally understanding their culture. And I don't know, it feels really cool. I feel like I was really lucky that the teachers at my school were like born bred for centuries Valencians. Every day I arrived into the school, they were kind of giving me more information, and I felt like I learned so much about the place. And you just appreciate a place more when you know the kind of history behind it, you know the culture, you speak to the actual people from there. And it just made me love Valencia even more because I got it. I got why everyone loved this city now. As much as I complained about FIUS and the worst, it was also such a fun month because I learned so much about the city during that month. However, I still feel like I'm being one of those memes on TikTok.
Here, I have a cold brew for you. Sorry, I only drink one cappuccinos.
Number 4 is the personal growth that you experience when you do an Erasmus. All of the negatives that came from the visa process and that, I feel like really did help me grow as a person, and it kind of taught me like, if you do what you need to do, it's going to be fine. They're not going to turn you down. You're okay. You've prepped that document. You've done it. And so the same way with like my language skills, when I had to speak to my landlord, it's like, you know what you're saying is right, and you know that maybe you're making a grammar mistake here and there, but you can communicate. They're not going to laugh at you, they're not going to make fun of you. Like, you got this. You guys know me, I'm a languages student, so having the opportunity to spend 9, 10, however many it was, months in Valencia helped my Spanish so much. Yeah, owning a flat, I dealt with a few problems in my Valencia flat, mold being a huge one. And I got to the point where I could like argue with my landlord, and it felt really cool to argue with my landlord in Spanish. I was like, check me. It's just like, I'm so cool. It is just the best way to learn languages, just being in a country and being immersed in it on a daily basis. So as a languages student, Erasmus is vital to your degree. Also, being able to travel to all the places around that area, it's not something you do. Like, if I went to Valencia for a 3-day trip, I wouldn't go to all these places on the outskirts. You just wouldn't have time. You want to focus on the city. And I spent the last month with Emilio. We actually like took the car back from France to just go around all the places that you can't get via public transport, but we wanted to see, and it was amazing. Like, just kind of thinking how diverse that region is and how I wouldn't have known it if I didn't leave the city. I know a lot of people tend to use their Erasmus as like a home point and they travel all around Europe, but I would so encourage anyone who's going on an Erasmus to just travel in your region, either the first few months or the last few months. You'll just appreciate it so much more. Point is just all the memories you make. I was at a restaurant with Emilio and we were going over kind of high points and low points of the year, and I went on for so long about being in Spain and how much that shaped me, and it went blank when I went to Scotland, because I was like, I've experienced Scotland my whole life, I know what it's like, but when I was in Valencia, everything was new, everything was fun, I was experiencing so many different things. Cliche, but you do really make memories for a lifetime, lol, and I really appreciated it. Okay, thank you so much for watching this video. If you are going on an Erasmus next semester or next year and you have any comments, just put them down and I'll try and answer them if I know how to. I know I had so many comments when I was going on mine. If you want more Erasmus content, let me know, and happy holidays again. Bye bye.